What is up, ladies and gentlemen? So in this video, I got a chance to sit down with Mr. Yong from the Merch Mind podcast. Now, if you haven't heard of the Merch Mind podcast, it's a podcast all about print on demand and mostly focused on merch by Amazon with a little bit of a designer's point of view. So the podcast is approaching its 100th episode, and they're giving this amazing giveaway. So I would suggest, if you are in Merch by Amazon, to go down, get the information down below, sign up for the giveaway, because it seems the prizes are really, really awesome. Now, I got a chance to talk to him for over an hour and a half, so I edited what I think was important, what I kind of wanted to highlight in this video. We talked about merch, Etsy, CreateSpace, building an email list, and just kind of wanted to get to know him a bit more. So let's get to it.
I went to your website, I think it's geekhustle.com, and I read that you started kind of reselling and kind of doing some side hustles since you were 15 years old.
Yeah, man, a long time.
So it's a long time, man. And like, I was kind of impressed with that, because when I was 15 years old, money, I wasn't really thinking about money. And another thing with where, you know, my situation was, my parents just wanted me to concentrate about studies. They didn't want me to do anything else besides school. So they weren't, it's not that they didn't want me to work or anything, but it was like, okay, school is first thing. We don't care about anything else. I was into school and music and stuff like that, but I never really had a like entrepreneurship mentality. And I just wanted to ask you where that came from. Like,
you know, my parents were the same way. They really try to, you know, tell us that education was very important.
mm-hmm.
But my thing was, at the time, I mean, all I cared, like, I'm not gonna lie, like in high school, I was horrible. Like, my grades were like, and you know, they were like, you know, C's and D's, and that's, you know, that's kind of bad considering that I'm Asian, right? Like, Asians are, you know, they have that
So
stereotype of
super upset.
Right, they were, right, because Asian had that stereotype of, you know, you have to become like a doctor or a lawyer or like some high end engineer, right? And here I am. Like I said, you know, my parents always told me, you know, education is really important, but it really wasn't for me at the time, right? And so so after high school, and I barely graduated from high school, right? All I cared about was working. Like I went to junior college for about 2 semesters after high school. And I realized, you know what, this just isn't for me. So I made a decision. Well, you know what, I just want to make money, right? And I've been collecting sports cards, and I used to collect comic books. And so what I used to do is, like, I used to have a backpack, full, you know, like a binder full of comic books and sports cards. And I'd go to the local flea market. I just walk around, man, and I just sell them. You know, and at the time for that age, and you know, I'll make what, 30, 40, 50 bucks on a good day. And to me at the time, like I said, that was good money, right?
Yeah.
And this is pre-internet, right? This is all pre-internet. eBay didn't even exist at the time. And we can get into eBay later, because that's a whole nother story, right? But so all I cared about was money, and just making money. And you know, and then, you know, and then obviously the computers, you know, they started to slowly become like a norm in our lives. And I was kind of ahead of the curve, because I taught myself how to do like HTML and all that. CSS didn't exist back then, but it was all pure HTML. And I taught myself how to do HTML, and I really fell in love with like the whole web development thing. And long story short, my late grandmother, right before she passed, and I was super close to my grandmother. Like, you know, I love my parents, but like my grandmother is like the foundation of who I am. So right before she passed, she made me promise her that I would go back and finish college. So as a tribute to her, I went back, got my degree in graphic design. And
So was that always in your mind? Like, were you kind of artistic?
I've always been artistic.
Okay, so that was
like
kind of
you know,
a easy
oh yeah,
decision.
man. yeah. So as a kid, I used to always draw. Like I said, this is all pre-computer, right? Like we
Yeah.
would have to draw on a piece of paper, and I was very artistic. In fact, my whole family, especially on my mom's side, we're kind of artistic. And so anyway, so I went back to college, man, and I got a degree. And I'm the only one in my family that has a college degree, right? My parents don't have one. My brother don't have one. So I was the only one to get a college degree. And the only regret that I have is that I wasn't able to finish college while my grandmother was still alive.
Mhm.
But it I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, you don't really need a college degree these days," and you don't, right? But I think it's really important. That's why I always talk about, if you have the opportunity to go to college, you should just go because it opens so many opportunities. And then I think I get like the whole entrepreneur bug from my dad, right? Because my dad was he was a local business owner, right?
And you used to
And
work
he
with him from a young age, right?
Man, this fool made me work with him since I was 12, man. Right? And so I get my entrepreneur mindset from my dad, right? Because he was he had a local business, and yeah, man, I didn't have your typical childhood, right? Like
Mhm.
most kids are during the summer, at 12, 13, 14 years old, they're going on summer vacations. I had to work. I had no other choice. And this sounds, and I said this on the podcast many times, right? Like if I didn't work, I get my ass whooped. And I know that sounds really harsh, but that's just that was how it was, right? It's just look, this is your lesson in life. You have to work. And That's why to this day, like I just want to work, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's doing merch or whatever, right? Or Etsy, it's not hard labor, but it's work, right? People, especially the younger generation, and I really hate picking on them, but a lot of them, really have this mindset that they want to make passive income and all this other BS, and I'm like, man, you gotta work, man. Just work. Stop having these. I mean, it's okay to have dreams and goals, but just fucking work your tail off.
My urge to kind of work on like a side hustle or anything was just I just didn't want to work for someone else.
hmm Well,
And
it's funny because like with me, I swear I must have had every damn job known to man, right? And it wasn't until the last couple of years that I decided, well, you know what? Um, I've made pretty good money over the years, and it just dawned on me until a couple of years ago that uh, kind of like what you said, I don't want to work for the man anymore. And the reason being is because I don't see my parents as often, maybe twice a year at the most, right? And the last time I saw my mom, man, it really broke my heart because she had aged so much, right? Um, because like if you see someone every day, you don't see the changes as much, right? But when you see someone twice a year, the changes are a little more prominent. And when I saw my mom, she had aged so much and she lost a lot of weight. She says she's healthy, but it really broke my heart. And I was like, man, you know what? I was like, as much as I love my day job, I just gotta freaking live my life on my own terms. So I've been working really hard to to try and just walk away from my day job. Again, I love my job. I have a great career. I have a great relationship with my boss. But that experience, like I said, seeing my mom, uh, just really, really impacted me. And I just, like I said, I made the decision to really bust my ass and just, try and be my own boss.
so let's talk about FBA, and that's kind of where I first noticed you, and that's kind of where I started this whole journey about selling online. So it was probably like three to 4 years ago. I quit one job. I was working as a DJ. I loved my work. I was working on cruise ships, so I was traveling the world, but I didn't see it where I can really grow and make good money. Like it was just I was getting paid okay, but the money was as quick as the money was coming in, it was coming out. So
It's quickly going now. Yeah.
I have to get out of here because I need a better future, because I can't be 40, 50 years old and still be a DJ and still be making just average, and not be able to buy a home. So I was like, all right, I have to quit doing this. I need to do something else where I can see if I can, make more money. Plain and simple. I need to make more money. So I started going online, and one of the first things I started watching was you in the green room, like Rake and Profit, Bonafide Hustler. What is it? Yeah. So I was, I first, so I got some tips from you. So I definitely learned from you guys, but just as quick, I was learning FBA. I think it was my first fourth quarter, and I was learning what this whole fourth quarter was, and just at the same time, that's when Merch by Amazon came out.
And so you started FBA right around the time Merch started.
I pretty much started FBA and I dropped FBA.
Yeah.
I literally, that year where Merch, I think it's 2015, the end of the, what is it, September 2015?
Yeah, no, you're right.
So that year is where I started investigating about eBay, FBA, and I started doing that. And then Merch came along. I gave it a little bit of attention. I wasn't like, this is it. I was like, okay, let's just sign up. I did some artwork, uploaded it, and totally forgot about it. And then, so I was learning FBA. I was like, okay, this is pretty good. This is pretty decent. And then I started getting these checks from Merch. And I was like, wow, what the heck? I should pay attention to this. And that's when you guys kind of almost started roughly the beginning as well, the podcast. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah. So Glenn started Merch right when it was announced. So that was late 2015. I started by the time my account was approved, I think it was March or April of 2016, and we started the podcast in October of 2016.
Okay, so basically 1 year after it opened up, you guys started a podcast.
We started the podcast, yeah. But yeah, it's been and we're approaching our 100th episode here real soon, probably in the next 2-3 weeks. And never in my mind, would I have imagined that we'd still be doing this podcast? Because if you go back and listen to the very first podcast, right? Number one, we didn't know what the hell we were doing, right? We were all over the place. I wasn't very comfortable in front of the mic as I am now. Our editing was off, right? Just everything was so bad. And it was more of us just trying to document our journey and then just talk about just design in general, right? Because Glenn is also a graphic designer. So it was just to kind of talk about design in the Merch community. So it never even, like, if you would have asked me freaking back in October of 2016, oh man, what do you think you guys are going to be 2 years from now? I would have never have imagined that we'd be doing this.
What was the goal? Like,
the goal was to really just put out content again, like I said, and just talk about design, right, in general for Merch by Amazon. I mean, if you listen to the podcast, like a lot of the stuff that we talk about is design, and we know we talk about other things, but the foundation of the podcast is really design, right? Like we've had a lot of interviews with designers, right? We had Von Glitchka on as a guest. We had you know what? I'm so bad. I'm blanking on his name, but
I think Eric. Eric is a designer.
Well, yeah, we had Eric Rosner, but there was a guy who wrote a book, and he was like in the T-shirt business long before Merch even existed.
Well, you had several.
Yeah, so the foundation of the podcast is really based on design, and there's other podcasts out there, right? There's a lot of content out there, like Anthony and Kevin, the Jersey guys. They're coming from the marketing angle, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of content out there, but yeah, the content that we put out is typically from the design angle, and for the most part, people people seem to like the information that we put out. And from what I hear, is really entertaining. I mean, especially me always being the jokester.
And you have a solid following, I think. So I pretty much
I get messages all the time, and yeah, and people love it, man. People love it,
yeah. So you're
and and every now and then I get people. I get people. They say some pretty negative stuff, and they say some pretty harsh things. But it took me a long time to realize. Well, whenever you're a public figure, you're always going to have haters,
Oh, yeah.
regardless of what you do, right? Like I can go and save someone's life right now, right, and put that on YouTube. I'll probably get like 20,000 likes, but then there's going to be like another 200 that just dislike it, right? So I just learned, what, just whatever. I don't care.
Oh yeah,
Just,
it comes with it, and I think a lot of people get discouraged with the negative feedback.
Mhm.
Even if some people post a design on a Facebook group and they get slaughtered by sometimes. I see sometimes someone will put a post, what do you
Yeah,
guys think of my design? And people say this is dumb, or they put some kind of GIF that's like you know what I mean? And then I think in general, a lot of people get discouraged in starting things because they get so much bad feedback. You guys
yeah.
started the podcast and got bad feedback, and we're like, okay, we're not good at this, we should stop. You wouldn't be where you are right now, right?
Exactly. And like I said, I get, I've read some of the negative reviews, and I get messages every now and then, people criticizing me, and I've even talked about this on the podcast. I had some freaking uh, uh, nut job. He would prank call me, right?
Oh, I think I've heard this.
Yeah. So I mean, someone hates me that bad that they're gonna waste their time and my time and just prank call me all weekend long, right?
Did they
That's how
say
bad.
anything?
Oh, I mean, it was dumb. Well, first of all, and I'm not trying to really stereotype anyone or anything, but it was a Middle Eastern guy, right? Because they had a really heavy Middle Eastern
Was it
accent.
long distance?
I don't know. It was weird. And they would call and I would answer, and they would say, "Hello, this is Officer or Agent so and so, right?
Oh,
Is
so
this
they're
Young
just
Chong?"
clowning,
And then and
being
then
cool.
and then what gave him away was the fact they're like, "Is this Young Chong with a degree from San Jose State in graphic design?" I'm like, "Man, what do you want, man?" Obviously, this guy listening to the podcast. I'm like, "What do you want? I'm like, why are you wasting your time calling me?" And
Yeah.
yeah, but so yeah, that's how bad it's gotten, right? Like people hate me, and that's okay though, right?
But this podcast has also opened a lot of doors for you.
It has, man. One thing that I learned, and I give Anthony from Jersey all the credit. We met last year in Seattle at the Merch conference in Seattle, and he was like, "Yo, man, instead of working against each other, and not that we were ever against each other, but he was like, yo, instead of just you know working against each other, let's just work together, help each other out." Um, and so
Because I
just
think it's just a different flavor, right? Everybody has a different taste,
yeah,
right?
yeah. But I've grown like like you were saying, I've grown so much with the podcast, and I've been able to grow as an individual more outside of because of the podcast, and because the podcast opened up a lot of doors. Like I said, I've met a lot of people. I've met people like you and Anthony and Kevin, Ken Real and Chris Green. The list goes on and on, and these are all people that I enjoy working with in the community.
And you're also being invited into conferences, so you're becoming a public speaker. So have you done any public speaking before, like let's say if FBA or eBay stuff?
I have not necessarily with FBA or eBay, uh, but I've Glenn and I did the whole workshop last year in Denver, right?
Hmm.
I've never done public speaking as big as the one in Seattle,
Okay.
so that would be really interesting how that works out. It's funny. As much as I talk, I swear I get nervous when there's an audience.
Yeah, yeah. I know. I have. I when I used to work on the cruise ship, I used to have to give these speeches about what I do on the ship in front of a huge audience. Luckily, all I could see is the light, the
Okay.
spotlight. So I couldn't see nothing but the spotlight and blackness. So I was like, okay, I think I'm okay. But before I would get up there, I would be so nervous, and then I wouldn't be able to see who was there. So in a way, I got kind of comfortable. And doing these things repetitively, like talking to people, doing designing consistently, you get better at things. You might
Sure.
really suck at first public speaking, but once you do it 3, 4, 5 times, you get better and you get more comfortable, and then you pretty much grow, right?
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm. With all these pods going on, right? We have merch by Amazon. You would say is your main focus?
That's my primary focus because
Okay.
that's where you're gonna make the most money, in my
Okay.
opinion.
And this is without doing what's it called, ads and stuff like that. You're pretty much just uploading it and getting the organic sales, right?
Yeah, I know that Amazon is launching the new AMS, but that's something we can get into later. But yeah, but for the most part,
Are you
it's all
doing
pretty much
Pinterest
organic.
or anything like that?
You know, so here's the thing. I took Teresa Rosa's Pinterest course. The problem is, man, I'm trying to do so many projects.
Yeah.
And that's a great course, by the way. I highly recommend it. But the thing is, I'm trying to do so many things right now. I don't have time to log into my Pinterest account and create boards and do all that. I know there's a lady that actually offers a service of doing that, so I need to get in contact with her because that's something that I need to start doing. But yeah, so I haven't done Pinterest, but yeah. So Merch by Amazon is definitely where you're gonna make the most money, in my
And
opinion,
then where's
because they have the most organic traffic.
yeah? And where's your next focus? I know you're doing CreateSpace.
I'm doing CreateSpace, and we can talk about that here in a second. But I would say, as far as T-shirts and apparel, Etsy, Printful, that'll be your best bet. In
Yeah.
fact, I know a lot of people, a lot of well-known members of the community. They're actually putting all their focus now on Etsy and Printful because they're just getting so frustrated with merch. And
Yeah.
I'm getting frustrated with merch, right? You know, I bitch about it all the time.
In the same boat too.
Yeah. You know, the last couple of weeks, I've been seeing some really good results on Etsy because I've been putting a lot of focus on there. So I would say, I would tell people, if you're just getting started on merch, you know, just re-upload you know, the same designs on Etsy. Do you do custom designs in your Etsy store?
I get requested quite a bit, so I do them.
Okay.
I did put one listing for custom design, and the custom design stuff, people are super happy when you do it for them.
Mhm.
So I do
had-
have one listing for custom design, and it goes okay, but I do get requested stuff. So let's say I have a design, and they'll be like, "Can I have it in this color,
Sure.
or can you lower the price, change this, but I'll buy this much."
Hmm. Yeah, I have this one design on my Etsy store, and the lady asked me, "Well, if you can just change it up just a little bit, I'll buy like 7, 8 of these shirts." I'm like, "Oh, hell!" I'm like, "Dude, you don't ask me twice, man." I made a quick change, and sure enough, like 2 minutes later, she bought like 8 shirts.
All right. So quick question with Etsy. Most of the stuff you're selling is towards women?
No,
No.
I would say 70% of it is towards women,
Okay.
and probably 30% could be unisex, you know, both guy or girl.
Okay. Because I don't I get an occasional sale for a men t-shirt or a kid's t-shirt, but I would say it's 90% women.
Yeah, I would say 90% of my customers are women,
Okay.
but uh, the designs, I would say they're like
Targeted for
70%.
men?
70% are targeted towards women, and
Okay.
30 are just kind of neutral. You know, You know, it could be
Because
guy.
I do offer the unisex T-shirts,
Mm-hmm.
but most of my sales are women's T-shirts specifically.
Mm-hmm. That's cool, man. Yeah, no, I mean, you have to know your marketplace, and you have to know your audience, right? And Etsy, there's a lot more women than men shopping on there, so definitely target your audience.
And with the brands of T-shirt, is there one that you like, or do you have?
I like the Bella Canvas 3001 for the unisex. For the women's, I just choose Gildan.
For the men?
Well, that'd be the unisex, right? The Bella Canvas 3001. And then let's see, the Racerbacks are really popular, right? The tank tops for women. I don't remember what brand that is. I think it's Next Level.
Okay.
And then the crop tops. Here's the thing. I don't think you can go wrong with any brand as long as you don't choose LA Apparel. Okay. And you know the whole story behind LA Apparel.
I think I remember.
Right.
You don't like the.
And if you guys don't know what I'm referring to, just look up the founder, the CEO of the original American Apparel. The guy was doing some shady stuff, man. He was into some shady business. Not a very good guy.
All right, so you might be hearing a little bit of thumping in the background. Sorry for that, but my buddy was itchy. Right now he's sleeping. I better be quiet.
CreateSpace. So I initially got into the whole KDP and CreateSpace publishing about 2-3 years ago, right? That's when people were hiring ghostwriters and everything, right? The problem with that was not only did you have to hire a ghostwriter, but then you had to hire like an editor to proofread everything. And people who they had to hire. It was just a long and painful process, right? Anyway, I met Kelly Roberts late last year, and we got to talking, and she was talking about how she was on CreateSpace publishing no content book. No content meaning like composition books or notebooks, right? You're not writing anything. And she said, what caught my attention was she said that she did $17,000 in December. And I damn nearly went nuts, right? I'm like, you made $17,000 freaking selling empty books on Amazon. And I was like, oh man. So I got, I talked to Glenn, and we were like, yo, let's like pay her $100 each and have her coach us, right? I'm like, I'm in. So it was early this year. She gave, we paid her for private coaching, and but I didn't start publishing right away. I waited a few months again because of the whole schedule thing. Waited a few months, finally started publishing a little bit. And the only reason that I stopped publishing right now, I have a little over 100 journals up right now. And the only reason that I stopped publishing is because for anyone that's taking their merch designs and then resizing them for journal covers, okay, they'll know what I'm talking about. You have to, and I'm sure you know this, right? Because you work in Photoshop and all this. Right. So in CreateSpace, let's say I want to publish on a 6x9 trim size this week, right? With 120 pages, right? That means I got to go download a template from CreateSpace, open up that template in Photoshop, open up my merch design, copy and paste my merch design into the template, and then freaking, export it as a PDF. Look, I did that 100 times. I damn nearly went nuts, right? So that was the only reason that I stopped. I'm in the process of hiring my friend's son. In fact, I just met up with them this past Friday. We got him up to pace. There's a new Chrome extension that I've been kind of hinting that's going to really help with the process. I got him set up on that Chrome extension. And we can talk about the Chrome extension later. It hasn't even been launched yet. So I'm hiring him to do all my resizing because I just got sick and tired of doing it, man. So he's gonna do all my resizing for me, and then I'll give them back to me in the Dropbox, and then I'll just go in and upload them myself.
Okay, so you haven't really done too much outsourcing.
Um, all the outsourcing that I've done have been local, right?
Okay.
Like all the designers that I've hired, I went back to my university
Mm-hmm.
and hired designers that's going through the same program that I've gone through. No VAs from overseas. Not that I'm against any of that, but it's just um, at least, especially the whole design part. It's just easier for me to go to someone that I know is a real person, right? This is a problem that we've had on merch for a long time now, and it's continues to be a problem where people hide behind a computer
Yeah.
and claim that they're graphic designers, and then you see their portfolio and it's garbage, right? It's all clip art stuff.
Yeah, I've have yet to really have a super great experience with outsourcing anything.
Right. And I'm not saying I'm like the world's greatest designer myself, but I can tell the difference between good and bad design. Right. And the stuff that I was getting from overseas, it was just, oh my gosh. I'm like, man.
Because I did get some really good stuff from overseas, but then I would Google search it, and there it's on some stock website,
Okay.
and then I'm like, well, and then I'm like, well, I'm paying you to do original stuff. Why is your artwork on these four websites?
Right. No, exactly, right. And I don't remember what episode it was, but we had an episode where a guy who claimed he was a graphic designer on Fiverr. For some reason, he wanted to come on the show. I don't know if you ever heard that episode,
Mm.
but it proved my point that that a lot of these people on sites like Fiverr, they're a bunch of frauds, right?
No,
Um,
my first experience with Fiverr was like, so I was hiring this person. The portfolio seemed amazing. $5,
of course, yeah, of course, it seems amazing.
amazing, right?
Yeah,
And so I get the design back, and you could tell that they took it from a website and they
yeah.
gave it to you because there was lines, right?
Hmm.
You could see that the lines from the watermarks,
Ah, the
right?
watermarks, those.
So they weren't even that good enough to take out like really completely the watermark. And I'm like, like it's definitely not yours because you see that the watermarks aren't there, and like and then I'm like, no, this is not going to work out. You guys have to give me an original design. I'm paying you. I specifically said I want something original. Um, so then they started saying that they're going to report me, that I've been doing this to other sellers, that I've had bad reputation, that I'm abusing this. I don't know. Like they were basically threatening me to report me to Fiverr, and I was like, dude, this is my first experience on Fiverr. I have like I've never hired anybody, never did
Right,
anything on Fiverr. You're the first person, so go ahead and report me. And then
right.
I
And
think
not,
I
and not
hired.
just and not just that, Daniel. Oh, what? I'm gonna get suspended from Fiverr?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
oh, wow, big deal. Okay, well, hey, my life is over.
Yeah, so I've done like three times. I think I the next one I hired, and it was just like how you said, clip art. And then
Yeah,
the third one, I was like, let's give it a try because you never you
good
might
times.
you might get lucky. I might find that one.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
the third one was like, it was just like, yeah, the design was on some stock website, and I was like, screw this. I'm not gonna be spending, because it takes time, right? Because you're going through the portfolios, you're
Mhm.
vetting their portfolios, checking the reviews, and I'm like, man, like because those three designs, I could have done it. The time
Mhm.
that it took me to research them, I could have done all three already.
Right, right,
So I
right.
was like, no, no. So that's
Yeah, and I'm not saying everyone is like that, right? I
And
mean,
Fiverr, I'm not saying Fiverr is bad,
yeah,
because
and
there
I'm
Fiverr
sure
does
I'm
really
sure there's that
good
diamond in
stuff,
that rough. Uh-huh.
and they
Right.
like, I've had some intros, like some video stuff. I think is good, and but I think if you're looking for something where your copyright safe, I don't think that's the place to go. I think it's a good
Mhm.
place to get generic stuff, like if you want to put on your social media or on your website, or get some
Yeah.
mock-ups, some video editing. I think that kind of stuff is good. But if you're going to go look for designs where you're safe from copyright, I think that's where you kind of have to be a little bit cautious.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the exact reason why I've been going to the local university and hiring students there, and it's been working out for me.
Are you thinking of getting into something else? I know, like you were mentioning to me before that, like the importance of building an email list or maybe even an audience.
Yeah, So here's the thing: as much as I love Merch by Amazon, and I'm not gonna quit Merch by Amazon. That's always gonna be my number one primary focus. But it's like I was telling you the other day when we were chatting. I was like, I just can't rely on Amazon anymore, right? I mean, it's just like FBA, right? If I was doing FBA, you can't solely rely on the FBA, right?
And
Because
that has changed drastically.
right, because Amazon has a reputation of just changing things, and it can ruin your whole business. And and it's changed my business, right, significantly, because I was doing $3,000 a month consistently, right? And now my royalty's been cut in half. It's like saying if you have $20 in your pocket right now, and I take $10 away, you'd be kind of upset, right?
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, but I'm trying to grow outside of Amazon these days. You mentioned the email list. Definitely trying to grow the email list. I never realized how important an email list is. Like I would hear it all the time, right?
Yeah.
Oh, grow your email list, and I always blew it off.
Yeah.
I never knew how important it was up until about a year ago.
Because your podcast might get, let's say, terminated. And
right,
like,
that's the only way I can communicate. Right, FBA can kick me off, and Amazon can kick me off. Facebook can kick me off. Right, at least I control my email list. Like no one can take me away. They can't take that away. I could be like Alex Jones, man. Everyone's gonna freaking suspend me.
You'll only have your website. Hopefully, you'll be able to find you in Geek Hustle.
Yeah. So I realized how important. And I was telling you this the other day, man. I was like, man, you should really try and grow your email list because that's pretty much like the heart of your business.
So you're doing a giveaway. So why don't you tell me about your exhibit?
Oh yeah, man.
We can share that.
We're having the 100th episode of the Merch Minds podcast giveaway. We had a lot of people contribute prizes. You know what's great about that was I had asked just a handful of people to donate. Right? Just a handful of people in my inner circle.
So how many prizes is there? It's not just one winner, right?
It's not just one. No, everyone. So not one person is going to win everything.
Everything. Okay.
Right?
At first, I was thinking that like it was like this.
Oh, that'd be. Dude, if that was the case, that'd be an awesome prize.
Yeah, that would be an awesome.
I reached out to a few people, some of the heavy hitters in the merch community, people like Ken Reel, Neil Lassen, and Matt Carlett, and they all donated like certain prizes. Like Ken's going to do private coaching for a winner. Matt Carlett from Merch Design Factory is going to he's going to donate like a design bundle. So what was great about this was when it was announced, all of a sudden people just started contacting me and saying, yo, man, I can donate this and I can donate that. And so the list just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So yeah, we got some great prizes, to celebrate 2 years being on air and celebrating our 100th episode. Again, we got, there's so many. Neil Lassen is donating 1 month subscription to Merch Informer. Oh gosh, there's so many. Who else?
You got the Pretty Merch guy, I think.
Yeah, Harris is donating 2 lifetime license for Pretty Merch Pro, and we just had him on the last episode. There's so many freaking prizes. You know what? Why don't you have the link? I'll give you the link and just post it in your description, and people can go. There's more prizes being added as we speak. People. So
when do you have a rough date where this is going to be announced on your podcast, right? The winner.
All the winners, they're going to be announced on the podcast. I haven't worked out the logistics yet with Glenn, but I'm almost positive it's going to be a live show.
Okay.
It's going to be a live. It's going to be a live show. We'll have all the winners will be announced. I'm guessing. I don't know yet. We might have special guests on the show, people like you and Ken. We'll see. I think Daniel. I think you said you're going to donate your dog as one of the prizes. Your wife's going to be like, "What the hell? What happened to our damn dog?"
I don't know. Not many people could handle him. We'll see.
But yeah, man, we have some amazing prizes. Did you sign up?
Yeah, I signed up.
Yeah. You know what's funny? Eric Rosner, he donated like one custom design. Okay. He's freaking idiot, man. He signs up to be one of the participants for the prize. I'm like, you can't donate a prize and then sign up for the prize at the same time.
Maybe he'll win his own.
Oh man. Oh, maybe that'd be funny. That guy's a riot, man. I like Eric. He has a great sense of humor.
All right, so we'll make sure to promote that. That's going to be roughly in like a couple weeks, right?
2 or 3 weeks. It'll be the week after Seattle conference.
And you are going, and you're going to be speaking in Seattle.
Yes, sir. I'll be there. In fact, Glenn and I are putting our presentation together as we speak. So
you're excited about it?
I'm excited about networking.
Yeah.
You know, I've always said, man, regardless of what business you're in, always network, because I said this earlier, just networking alone, I've grown so much as an individual this past year. Oh man, I mean, networking is really, really, really critical, I think, in any business. Seriously, I think the more you network, the more opportunities, the more doors it will open. Seriously.
Yeah, I definitely have to get in more on that. I've been pretty much kind of doing my own thing, and I have to realize the value of networking. And
you know what? And some people, they work better just being alone. Me, I'm just a firm believer of, look, as human beings, we're meant to be interacting with one another. So I'm just networking as much as I can. Look, I spend thousands and thousands of dollars a year just going places and meeting people, because I think, to me, that's just worth that's just the cost of doing business, and it's worth every penny.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to be putting all the relevant links down below. Make sure you sign up for the giveaway. I'm going to be putting a playlist on either side of here. Have a look at those videos. I think a lot of those videos are very informative. Just have a look at the playlist, and then I'll see you next time. Have a good one.